You can do every oil change on time, follow the manual, drive gently, and still lose your engine. Because some SUVs have problems built into them from day one. Not abuse, not neglect, design flaws. Here are 11 SUVs where the damage starts long before you ever turn the key. Number 11. Toyota Highlander 2.4 Turbo. Toyota dropped the proven V6 from the Highlander and replaced it with a smaller turbocharged 4-cylinder. On paper it looks great. More torque, better fuel economy. But that little turbo is now doing the heavy lifting in a vehicle that weighs over 4,300 pounds. And owners started noticing problems almost right away. Hesitation off the line, surging under acceleration. The engine stumbles on regular 87-octane fuel, even though Toyota says that's all it needs. A lot of drivers say it feels noticeably smoother on premium. That means the turbo is working harder than it should every single day. A turbo under constant stress in a heavy SUV doesn't stay healthy forever. That's not a maintenance issue, that's a design trade-off. What to do? Test drive it on a cold start and do a few low-speed roll-ons. If it hesitates or surges, walk. And if you buy it anyway, plan on premium and shorter oil intervals. Turbos punish dirty oil, but if Toyota's turbo gamble makes you nervous, wait until you hear what Nissan tried. Number 10. Nissan Rogue 1.5 VC Turbo. Nissan tried something ambitious here, an engine that can physically change its compression ratio while you drive. Sounds smart, but here's the problem. More moving parts means more ways to fail. And this one didn't just wear out. It triggered a massive recall. In 2025, Nissan recalled over 440,000 vehicles because the internal bearings in that system were wearing out way too early. Some engines seized completely. Nissan estimated about 5% of those vehicles would need full engine replacements. That's over 22,000 engines. That's not a small problem, that's a factory-scale problem. What to do? If you're looking at a Rogue from 2021 to 2024, treat this like a VIN check vehicle, not a casual used car buy. Run the VIN for recall completion before you hand over a dime. Because when internal bearings go, this isn't a fix-it-later situation. This is the kind of failure that turns a decent deal into an engine replacement. And if that feels complicated, the next one is simpler but just as costly. A basic ring design that made a lot of owners start carrying extra oil in the trunk. Number 9. Subaru Forester 2.5 liter. Subaru's Flat 4 has always been a fan favorite. Reliable, capable, great in the snow. But when they redesigned the 2.5 liter with the newer FB25 block, they used thinner piston rings to reduce friction and improve fuel economy. Less drag, more miles per gallon. The problem? Those thinner rings couldn't hold a proper seal. Oil started slipping past the pistons and burning off in the combustion chamber. Owners reported losing a quart of oil every 1,000 to 1,200 miles. Subaru told customers that was normal. It wasn't. A class action lawsuit pushed Subaru to update the ring design was defective, and they put out bulletins for 2011 to 2014 models with updated rings. What to do? If you're shopping in that year range, ask the owner or dealer about oil consumption history. Check the dipstick yourself. Check the tailpipe for oily soot. And look in the trunk. Owners who live with this problem usually carry a bottle of oil with them. That tells you everything you need to know. Now, from rings that don't seal to a timing system that can destroy an engine overnight. Number 8. Volkswagen Tiguan 2.0T with the EA888 Generation 2. Volkswagen sold this engine as modern and efficient, and it is when it works. The problem is a small part called the timing chain tensioner. In engines built between 2008 and 2013, that tensioner had a flawed internal design. A metal sleeve inside it could loosen and collapse without warning. When it fails, the chain goes slack, jumps time, and the valves crash into the pistons. One morning the car starts fine, the next morning it doesn't start at all. And you're staring at a $3,000 to $7,000 repair bill. VW updated the part in later models, but never issued a formal recall. Because when timing goes, the engine doesn't negotiate. What to do? If you're looking at a first-gen Tiguan, your first question should be whether that tensioner has been swapped to the latest revision. Ask for proof. If nobody can show you paperwork, walk away. This part doesn't give you a second chance. But while VW's timing system falls apart, the next SUV has a problem hiding inside the cylinder head itself. Number 7. Mazda CX-9 2.5 Turbo. Mazda's 2.5-liter turbo is a strong, responsive engine. But in 2016 to 2020 models, there's a problem that keeps showing up. The cylinder head cracks near the exhaust side. To save space, Mazda built the exhaust path directly into the head casting. That puts a massive amount of heat in one concentrated spot. That daily heat cycling can crack the head on the exhaust side. Coolant starts leaking externally, usually near the turbo. If you don't catch it, the repair can run over $7,000 out of warranty. Mazda redesigned the head for 2021 and later models, and they put out a bulletin for affected vehicles. That's not wear and tear. That's a casting flaw from day one. What to do if you're looking at a CX-9 from those years? Check for dried coolant crust near the turbo side of the engine. Ask the dealer if the head has been replaced. And if the vehicle is out of warranty, get a cooling system pressure test before you buy. That 20 minutes could save you thousands. And if a cracked head sounds bad, wait until you hear what happens when the oil pressure system itself stops doing its job. Number 6. Jeep Cherokee 2.4-liter. The Jeep Cherokee's 2.4-liter Tiger Shark engine has a weak point in the oil pressure control system, the part that decides how much pressure the engine gets. When it malfunctions, oil pressure drops, even for just a few seconds. And when pressure drops, bearings and camshafts start grinding with no protection. Owners have reported knocking noises, oil pressure warnings, and engines locking up completely. And this isn't caused by skipping oil changes. It's built into the design. It's part of the design. Some owners lost their engines before 60,000 miles doing everything by the book. Oil pressure is life. Lose it, and everything inside starts paying the price. What to do? If you own one, don't ignore any oil pressure warning, even for a second. If you're shopping for one and you have a cheap code reader, bring it. And listen for any ticking or knocking at startup and under load. Because once the damage starts inside, there's no cheap way out. Now, from losing oil pressure to something even sneakier, fuel going where it was never supposed to go. Number 5. Honda CR-V 1.5 Turbo. Honda's 1.5 turbo was supposed to be the future of efficiency. Great power, great fuel economy. But owners in cold climates started noticing something strange. Their oil level was going up, not down. Turns out, unburned fuel was slipping past the piston rings during cold starts and short trips and mixing directly into the engine oil. When gasoline thins out your oil, it can't protect the engine anymore. Thin oil means faster bearing wear, and bearings don't come back. Honda extended warranties on 2017 to 2018 models and pushed software updates to help the engine warm up faster. But owners have argued in lawsuits that the problem stretches into models as late as 2023. What to do? If you drive short distances in cold weather with this engine, check your dipstick regularly. Smell it. If it smells like fuel, treat it like an emergency, not a reminder. Change the oil early and change it often. Don't wait for the maintenance minder. It doesn't account for this. And if fuel in the oil sounds bad, wait until you see where BMW decided to stick their turbochargers. Number 4. BMW X5 with the 4.4-liter N63. BMW thought they were being clever. Put the turbochargers inside the V of the engine, right between the cylinder banks. Less turbo lag, compact packaging. The problem is that spot turns into an oven. The turbos are surrounded by exhaust components and there's nowhere for the heat to go. That extreme heat cooks the valve stem seals, dries out gaskets, and burns through oil at an alarming rate. Some owners reported adding a quart every 600 miles. BMW launched a customer care package in 2014 to cover timing chains, injectors, and oil consumption on early models. But the core issue is the layout itself. Repairs regularly run $5,000 to $9,000 because the engine has to come out of the car just to get to the seals. If you want a twin-turbo V8, you're also signing up for twin-turbo bills. What to do? If you're eyeing a used X5 with the twin-turbo V8, get a pre-purchase inspection from a BMW specialist, not a general shop. Ask about oil consumption history and check for any signs of seal leaks. This V8 doesn't just drink oil, it punishes budgets. Now from too much heat to a piston ring problem that kept showing up for years. Number 3. Chevrolet Equinox 2.4-liter. GM's 2.4-liter Ecotec in the Equinox is one of the most infamous oil burners of the last decade. The piston rings were designed with low tension to reduce friction, but they couldn't hold a proper seal. Oil poured into the combustion chamber and burned off. Owners reported losing a quart every 1,000 miles or less. On top of that, spray jets inside the engine overload the piston skirts with oil, and the PCV system pulls even more oil into the intake. It pulls oil in from every direction, and the oil level warning system doesn't kick in until it's already too late. GM settled a class action for 2010 to 2013 models, but owners have argued in lawsuits that the same defect carried into 2014 to 2017 models. What to do? If you own one, check your oil every time you fill up with gas, every single time. If you're shopping for one, get a pre-purchase inspection and ask specifically about oil consumption. If the seller can't show you oil change records, don't take the chance. This engine will eat oil until it eats itself. And if GM's piston rings couldn't do their job, what Hyundai left inside their engine block is even worse. Number 2. Hyundai Santa Fe 2.4-liter. Hyundai's Theta 2 engine turned into one of the biggest recall nightmares in recent memory. And the reason is simple: debris where there should have been clean oil. The 2.4-liter in the 2013 to 2018 Santa Fe Sport had a factory mistake that left metal shavings from the machining process still inside the engine's oil passages. That debris chewed up the connecting rod bearings from the inside out. Once the bearings go, the engine seizes. And in some cases, a rod punched through the block and sprayed oil onto hot exhaust components, starting fires. Hyundai recalled millions of vehicles and extended warranties to 15 years or 150,000 miles. They also developed a knock sensor system to catch early bearing wear. What to do? If you're shopping for a used Santa Fe from this era, check that the recall work has been completed and the knock sensor software is installed. Listen for any ticking or knocking at startup. And keep your oil changes tight, because this engine doesn't forgive you for being even a little late. A clean service record matters more here than on almost any other SUV on this list. And now the number 1 spot. The SUV with a flaw built right into the engine block itself. Number 1. Ford Escape 1.5 EcoBoost. Ford's 1.5-liter EcoBoost has a design problem that starts inside the block. The original casting used thin-walled cooling passages between cylinders 2 and 3. Over time, those thin walls crack, erode, or pit, and coolant starts leaking directly into the combustion chamber. There's no external leak to spot, no puddle on the driveway, just a coolant level that keeps dropping, and white smoke coming out the exhaust. Then misfires, then the engine is done. Ford put out multiple bulletins between 2018 and 2020 acknowledging the problem. The fix is a complete short block replacement. That costs between $6,000 and $8,000 on a vehicle that might not even be worth that much. Ford redesigned the block for 2020 models, but Escapes built from 2017 to 2019 are the most at risk. What to do? If you're driving an older Escape with the 1.5 EcoBoost, check your coolant level every week. If it keeps dropping with no visible leak, don't keep driving and hope it fixes itself. Get a pressure test done immediately. And if you're shopping for one, stick with 2020 or later, because this isn't a part that wears out. It's a block that was made wrong from the start, and there you have it. 11 SUVs with hidden engine design flaws that can cost you thousands if you don't see them coming. If you've owned one of these, tell us what it cost. It helps other buyers avoid the same trap. Which one surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, click here for our next video where we break down the most reliable SUVs you can actually trust. Thanks for watching.